Shalom and welcome back to the Daily Halacha. We are going to finish the first chapter of Shearim B'Tfilah, Bitsur. The Daily Halacha is sponsored by Doreen and Marshall Lerner in memory of Marshall's mother, Alma Lerner, Asna Bat Moshe. Thank you to the Lerners for your sponsorship. So we come to the final part of this first chapter, which talked about our approach to God out of a sense of tsar, which Rav Pincus noted is perhaps the most natural way to pray, the most effective way to pray, the most obvious way to pray, the easiest way to pray because it doesn't take a lot of effort. When someone is experiencing difficulty, it's very easy, and as we said yesterday, even natural to call out for help, whether you're standing on a ladder and the ladder starts to wobble and you need help and you call down to the person below for help, or a serious health challenge wherein one may naturally turn to God to prayer. We also noted, of course, that this aspect of prayer exists both in formal prayer, when we say the Amidah. It also exists in informal prayer whenever we are faced with a difficult situation. We may stop whatever we're doing and offer a prayer or request from God for help. And to top it all off, to close out this chapter, Rabbi Pincus quotes a powerful midrash at the end of Devarim, when Moshe was begging and pleading with God that he be allowed into Eretz Yisrael. And the midrash depicts God as sort of running all over the place and shutting the windows and shutting the doors and telling the ministering angels not to allow this prayer up, because if the prayer came too close to God, he would have no choice but to accept it. So powerful, so potent was Moshe's prayer. And so the Midrash talks about all of the efforts that God went through to block the prayer. Now that in and of itself may present a challenge to us. Why not just allow the prayer to go, and therefore God would, quote unquote, feel compelled to allow Moshe back into Eretz Yisrael? But that's not our focus. Our focus right now is the strength of that prayer. And then Rav Pincus compares that midrash to a teaching from the Zohar in Parshat Balak, where he says there are three prayers that are called tefillah. One is Moshe's prayer, one is David's prayer, and one is the prayer of the ani, the needy, the poor. Tefillah leMoshe, we say, Isha Elokim, and that tefillah is the tefillah of a great leader. Tefillah leDavid, that is the tefillah of a king. And tefillah la'ani, the prayer of a simple poor person. And the Zohar goes on to say, Me elu hagimel mi chashuva mikulan. Rabbi Pinchas writes, quoting this Zohar, which of these three prayers, that of Moshe or King David and this ani, this poor person, is the most important? Havei omer tefillah la'ani, the prayer of the poor person. Tefillah zo kodemet l'tefillah shel Moshe v'kodemet l'tefillah shel David. V'kodemet l'chol shar tefillot olam. That prayer takes precedence over Moshe's prayer and over David's prayer and over any other type of prayer. And why, he says, Mahu hatam mishum shehanihu shivur halev. Because the poor person is broken-hearted. V'katuv karov Hashem lenishbarei lev. God is close to the broken-hearted. V'kadosh baruch hu makshiv v'shomea divarav. God listens attentively to that prayer. Kevan shani hitpalel tfilato potechet kol chalonot harakia. Because that person prays from their heart, all of the windows of heaven are open and the prayer is allowed through. And Rav Pinchas says, imagine that. Imagine you have the prayer of Moshe, which was so powerful that God had to go through all of these extra special efforts to make sure it didn't make it through. The prayer of the ani makes it through. The prayer of the ani is even stronger than the prayer of Moshe. Why? Because he prays from a sense of bitsur. So to end this paragraph, I want to be clear. We never, ever want tsar. We don't want distress. We don't want troubles in our lives. God forbid, a million times. We should all be healthy and happy and have enough money and have good friends and have wonderful family. We should never have any stress or distress in our lives. But when those moments do come, I should say if those moments do come, then they are opportunities for us to turn to God. They are opportunities for us to pray. They are a chance for us to strengthen our connection with God, a chance for us to flex and exercise that muscle of always feeling God's presence. And those moments make for very powerful prayers, as we ourselves can attest to, even without all of the texts that we have studied in this chapter. And so that ends the first chapter, the chapter of Bitzur, in the book of Shearim B'Tfilah. And I look forward to continuing tomorrow with you with the next language of prayer, which, according to the text, is, I believe, Kriyah, calling to God. Have a wonderful day, everybody.